when you're talking about a large organization, it's easier said than done to break down processes which have been put in place for a reason over time. Yeah. And it's how, a large organization can become a sausage machine because they have those processes in place. How do you break down those processes, become a more agile organization when looking at, adopting cloud technologies?
Yeah, it's easy to write stuff down on paper, but it's hard to actually do it. So there's a lot of methodologies and processes you can use to, like value stream mapping, where you can go analyze processes and figure out where the waste is and remove it. But if you can't get everybody in the room to talk about it because they're holding onto their turf, or even if you say, well, there's 60% waste in this process, why don't you move this team to that team and create this, cloud operations team, but there's politics involved. So it's easy to recommend methodologies to identify waste and redesign it, but it's hard to break down the political barriers and change the kind of the mindset of the why. So I in the book, I give a lot of examples of both companies that applied something that didn't work and companies that applied stuff that did work. I don't really have the answer in the magic bullet in there, but what I do is create awareness. These things, in my experience, work better than these approaches. And a big part of it is the operating model, right? You really need, Adrian Cockcroft, I don't know if you know Adrian from Netflix fame, always said DevOps is an org change. He said that years ago, and cloud is even a bigger org change, right? And why do we say that? Because we're building software entirely different than we had before. It doesn't make sense to put teams of domain expertise anymore, server team, storage team, network team, because all this stuff's an API away now. So now what we need is the brains from the storage people, the network people, to sit in a room with us and help architect virtual private clouds and figure out what's the right storage unit to use. But we don't need them turning screwdrivers and patching devices anymore. So we still need those people probably more than ever before, but we need their engineering minds, not their administrative minds. And when they're in silos, and I'm trying to deliver daily, I can't be sending tickets and having meetings and cab reviews, because that you can't do that in a day, right? When software is being deployed in a day. So you really have to change things. It has to be more collaborative, more engaged. And I really recommend teams are focused more product oriented, as opposed to, you can still have your center of excellence, but you pull from there and you have security engineers on your product. Right, so that way you don't need 58 meetings to get you have someone with that expertise, and they can go back to the security well when they need to get answers. But you have a full stack team there with shared goals, and those shared goals are the goals of the product, right? So that's the formula that works. It's real easy to say that. It's incredibly hard to change the heart and souls of the corporations to get them to move that way.
We talked about this recently in terms of the differences between monolithic application design and microservices, and how with monolithic